In Africa, corruption plays a very negative role in the development of the structures, infrastructure, schools, hospitals. It negates the very fact that we became independent. It destroys independence. We wish we had been under the colonial yoke. We wish the white man came back to stop corruption. We regret in some countries in Africa that there are people who take huge monies and we laud them, we clap for them. We even give them more degrees. We even honor them at functions. We call them to open our buildings. Name the buildings, the roads in their names because they are corrupt. The question of corruption in Kenya is very real. The chicken gate scandal. The people in Britain have already served the sentence. In Kenya, nobody has served it. Yet it was proved that they actually bribed those guys. So corruption is real. Corruption kills. Corruption can only be eliminated in Kenya if Kenya changed the criminal justice system, denied people, denied the thieves, denied the economic crimes perpetrators bail on first appearance. Until the investigations are conducted, thoroughly brought, files are put together, is when these cases can now proceed in a maximum of 1 week, 3 days to 4 days. You are found guilty or not guilty. You either walk home or you walk back to committee. Until we do that in Kenya, until that is done, like what is done in Ethiopia, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, that bail is not given to everybody who has touched an economic crime and committed an economic crime. Bail is denied. If we start changing, the Parliament of Kenya changes that. Believe me or not, corruption here, people will fear. Nobody wants to go and stay 6 months or 3 months or 4 months in jail. But we have made it very easy for people in Kenya to steal on Friday, release them on Monday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, they are off to Dubai, to Mauritius, Madagascar, Seychelles, Zanzibar, to enjoy the money with their loved ones or their hated ones. I thank you. Tomorrow we receive the PBI report. Those who have been anticipating for this report to come will see it tomorrow. The president will receive it and the entire country will have a look at the report as starting from Wednesday.
This morning I received notification from the chairman who has been handling the PBI report. Akaniambia ya kwamba wamemaliza na wangependa kuja waniletee, and I have told them that they can bring it on Tuesday, and I assure you that as soon as I receive it, mimi nitasoma, lakini pia at the same time nitapatia all Kenyans waweze waipate, waisome. My only prayer, especially to the political class, kwa sababu mimi najua wananchi hawana shida. Jameni, tusome. This is an opportunity to engage in meaningful and peaceful discourse. We don't want to divide the country. Only a fool will say that there are no issues in this country that do not require addressing. So let us address them.
The biggest thing that has happened to Kenya is to audit the way we live, the way people live. Most African countries have never audited themselves. That's why there have been wars, conflicts, corruption, and so on and so forth. But for Kenya to have decided to stop at one moment and said, come on, why are we fighting? We are fighting because of elections. We are fighting because of corruption. We are fighting because of lack of patriotism. If BBI can bring out some of these issues, Kenya will be the best country that you can always enjoy and think about in Africa. Of course, there will be people who want to take this matter further than what it is. It was merely a collection of views that will be put to test through institutions that are laid down by the law. And after that, the MPs and the country will decide whether there are some questions that need a referendum or not, or there are things that they need to adjust so as to bring quality of service, development for everybody. A shilling for a person. 1 shilling, 1 person. Just as it. Good morning, viewers. Thank you very much. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the Political Command Center in Africa. Thank you very much for viewers. This is an extra pre-Christmas broadcast brought to you by Punchline Africa Television. This morning, our show is a show that is talking about, we shall be discussing the week that was in Kenya, in Africa, and the globe. We shall find out what was the most interesting thing that you saw this week, politically, economically, socially, health matters, political matters, economic matters, global matters, security matters. That's what we always do on this show. This show on Friday is taken as one of the best shows that you can see, where we analyze events. But first, we begin with Kenya. The headlines in the newspapers, the studio will be bringing them on one, and if you can put the screen, the ones that you have there right now, I would be very, very much obliged. We have the headlines in the newspapers. I saw them online. This morning, we have the Daily Nation. The Daily Nation talks about the messy Christmas. The messy Christmas that everybody in Kenya might be having, and which could be messing up quite a lot of things. It's now still. The Daily, it is messy. I don't know why they say a messy Christmas, because it is actually, it has caught us in the dynamics of one, the disease itself, the restrictions, the protocols. I am just in one of the places across, as an investigative journalist across the continent of Africa. I always look at the issues that make Africa in terms of tourism, in terms of industry, in terms of manufacturing. Good morning, Kenyans. Good morning, Africans. Thank you very much. Viewers, keep watching. If you want to join us on this Friday morning, this is Punchline Africa Television. Thank you very much. Let's look at the Merry Christmas. Indeed, not everybody has got a Christmas as good as we expected. So many restrictions, masks, you must wash your hands, you must keep a distance, a lot of suspicion. You don't know whom you are standing to with, who has what. So these are some of the things that have made it be called a Merry Christmas. The Daily Nation goes further to look at several areas. I haven't gone in and at the ocean. The week that was the Ruto man arrested or abducted, one of the headlines at the top banner. And we are joined across from Kisumu or wherever you are, you need, by Daniel Wesonga. Good morning, Daniel.
Yes, a very, very good morning to you, Dr. Matsanga. Happy to see you on your brief holiday.
It is which holiday? I am not on holiday. You are the one who is in holiday. I am not on holiday.
Yes.
Yes, I am working. People who are on holiday don't come back to work. Thank you very much. I spread all of you around the country to bring in quite a lot of information. And I'm glad that you have been able to establish contact, because some of your friends have not established contact yet, but they will do so as we go on. But good morning wherever you are. Where are you based in? Are you in Kisumu right now?
No. I'm in Migori County near the Tanzanian border now.
Yes, can you report direct from what is going on in the Tanzanian border in Migori?
Yes, a lot of festivities, Dr. Matsanga. Of course, also I was privileged to use the Kisumu-Migori highway, which has been made by the national government. Very crispy. In fact, it takes you half of the time that it would have taken you some few years ago. And on top of that, also, when you're coming from Homa Bay to Migori, you don't have to use even the new highway that has been made by the government. Yet another new highway has been made as a shortcut from Homa Bay to Migori, so which makes traveling quite easier. Also, whatever I noticed is that the road from Migori to Kisii also has been tarmacked all the way from Narok all the way to Mai Mahiu and all the way to Nairobi. So travelers who are going to western part of the country do not have trouble moving around, because the roads have been made everywhere. No instances of traffic along the way, because we have so many options, courtesy of the legacy projects.
Thank you very much. You talk about the legacy. Let's keep it there. How do people feel with this type of new roads that President Uhuru Kenyatta has done so far? That President Uhuru Kenyatta has put the infrastructure for anybody who wants to do business between Tanzania and Kenya on the other side of Kenyan angle. How do you feel?
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga David. Of course, road networks and connectivity is it is the heart of the economy, because goods and services have to move from one place to another for them to be able to be sold and be bought. And now that is how commerce happens. And whenever we have a country that has opened up its roads, it means that Kenyan farmers, Kenyan traders are able to move goods all the way from as far as Mandera, from Ethiopia, all the way to Isebania border and all into Tanzania and do business. So whatever mood that is here is of quite of excitement, because now the roads used to be very, very a bit delicate with potholes and all that before President Uhuru Kenyatta took power. But right now, as it is very, very smooth to move around. Even as you move from Kisumu to Busia, the road has been recarpeted and everything is quite perfect. So even those traders who are moving their goods from all the way from the port of Mombasa through Kisumu all the way to Busia border or Malaba border are actually finding it a bit easy than before. So that actually means that for the Kenyan side, business is happening quite well, and even for the Tanzanian side, because when they are exporting their goods through Kenya to Ethiopia, to Sudan, to Somalia, then they're going to be having a very, very easy time due to the good roads that the Jubilee administration has been able to construct. So therefore, Dr. Matsanga, to answer your question, I think the mood by the people who are using these roads, the traders and the locals, it's a bit of a jovial mood and excitement that the government has done a very, very fantastic job for them.
The government has done a great job as a type of a legacy. What do you comment and what do you give? How many marks for the legacy on type of infrastructure do you give His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta?
For this one, Dr. Matsanga, I'll give him 9 out of 10. And 9 out of 10, just simply because maybe the 1% is because the contractor hasn't yet marked the road, which is a process, because I understand they have to wait for the tarmac to a bit dry up before they do the demarcations and marking of the road. But exemplary, I think President Uhuru Kenyatta has done 99% on infrastructure. And that is a plus. No any other president has been able to construct so many roads like I've seen with President Uhuru Kenyatta. Imagine traveling from Nairobi all the way to Kisumu, all the way to Homa Bay, all the way to Migori without meeting a single pothole on a road, Dr. Matsanga. That does not happen in Africa. I think President Uhuru Kenyatta, if it was another African country, we would have recommended another term for him. So unfortunate that our constitution does not allow that. But to put it plain, Dr. Matsanga, I believe the president has done a very excellent job in terms of road connectivity and the other super infrastructure that he's laying across the country.
Speak of road construction infrastructure. Let's look at the healthcare system of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. How has he been able, from the point of view, how has he been able to be, how has the health infrastructure prepared? How is it prepared? In Migori, you are near the border with Tanzania. As we know very well, Tanzania, the other side, we don't know what goes on as far as COVID-19 is concerned. Have you visited the hospitals in Migori so that you can give us a picture of how the patients are the hospitals ready? Have you heard, as an investigative journalist and a member of the legacy team trained of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, have you visited the hospital to find out how much medicine is, how ready are they? Are the figures, the percentage, we see percentage in Kenya rising to 29.7% of rate of infection. Well, how do you find the hospitals in that area in Migori?
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga David. And of course, the hospitals around here are quite well equipped. And one thing that the government has done is building clinics in areas where residents are a bit far away from the referral hospitals and all that. And I was actually also happy to see that most of the hospitals around actually have the modern ambulances, which is very, very quite in common. When you go to countries like Congo, when you go to countries like even Ethiopia, you find that remote areas like these, which are almost close to the borders, lack such facilities. But I've been able, just a short period of time in Kisumu, along Homa Bay and Migori, I was able to see such new ambulances, all from the government hospitals, moving around and being able to transport patients. And I think that is quite good in terms of healthcare. In terms of equipment of the hospitals, for the few people I spoke to, I believe all is quite well, and especially also in terms of vaccine rollout, it's going on quite smoothly. And
let me bring you in Migori. near
Yes.
the Tanzanian border. Daniel, can you explain to us the conditions? How are people crossing? Have you gone to the migration? Have you gone to the border points to check out whether people are coming in with certificates that indicate that they have been vaccinated, or they coming out or going away or coming in with COVID test certificates? What is the situation in Migori?
Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga David. And of course, Tanzania is a country that whose history in regards to COVID-19 we well know. However, in terms of the immigration, I believe they are not at par quite well in terms of the scrutiny in checking about this COVID certificates and all that. In as much as the Kenyan side, we have a very, very great progress in vaccine rollout. On Tanzanian side, I believe things are a bit slower. But just to answer your question, I believe that the border, the immigration at the border, there are bits of there's some bit of laxity in terms of doing proper scrutiny, as people are just still moving in and out freely, which I believe could pose a risk to the Kenyan population, which has been fully vaccinated. And actually, when you walk around Migori town, people are still putting on face masks and maintaining the health protocols. Various businesses actually insisting on those measures that have been put out there by the Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization. So maybe our clarion call as community television will be to call on the officials at the border to a bit tighten their news and be able to do proper screening and checking of these people moving across the border, because whatever is happening right now, for the moment, whoever people that are expected to show their vaccination certificates are only travelers who are using or public service vehicles, maybe traveling to Arusha or Dar es Salaam, and also the truck drivers who are traveling across the East African countries. But the locals who are moving between the two countries are a bit of laxed up in regards to being scrutinized and being checked for the vaccination certificate. I submit, Dr. Matsanga.
Thank you very much. Let's come back to some other topics. What stood out for you this week, Daniel, as you speak from Migori? You must have passed through Kisumu. I hope you would have joined the train. What stood out for you this week that side? What is exciting people in that western part of Kenya?
Yes, thank you so much. And Dr. Matsanga, you already given a hint of what is exciting people of Western Kenya. And for many years, our people, Dr. Matsanga, have always succumbed to road carnages during this festive season because of the buses that actually tend to ply the route of Western Kenya and Nyanza. And actually, when I was traveling back to these sides, I realized even the matatus, which normally ply within Nairobi, like the super metro, were actually also transporting people to Western Kenya, which means that we always have a shortage in transportation. The buses which are maybe expected to carry people to their villages. And that has been a big problem, in that now you realize that unscrupulous bus owners go to their garage and actually revive these ramshackle buses and put in people in excess. And before you know it, these people are involved in accidents and lose their lives. So the Western Kenya part of the country and Nyanza region in particular have been losing lots of their loved ones on road accidents. Now we have a new thing that has come on the block, and that is the Nairobi Kisumu train, which is way much safer, way much spacious, and of course, way much affordable to these people. And just to confirm to you is that since the train was launched some few days ago, it has always been full to capacity on its way to Kisumu. And just the other day, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, the former Prime Minister, amongst some few Western Kenya governors and also the Kisumu governor and the county officials were able to take a ride on the train. And that is just to confirm that this is a train that is actually quite stable. It is a train that you and me can be able to use and ride and see the scenic view around the Great Rift Valley as you travel slowly onto your way to Kisumu And then now from Kisumu, people can take their matatu to their villages, which is much safer and more economical, Dr. Matsanga. And just maybe to mention to our viewers, is that today morning also our man in the central part of Kenya has just brought in the news that the train from Nairobi to Nanyuki is also bound this morning, and it's actually also full to capacity. And people who are maybe anticipating perhaps they will find a traffic jam along Kenol, Thika Highway, then they are much saved by the presence of this particular train. So that actually stood out for me, Dr. Matsanga, because we are able now to say that at least we put behind the days where the festive season will come with sort of some bad news on the roads, because now people are more able to use this train to their villages. And I believe also around second or third, when people will be having shortage of transport going back to the city, this train will also come in bounty for them. So to me, that is a very, very good thing that really captured my attention this week. Another thing is the political parties and
I'm coming to that. We are coming to the political party.
So all in all, that is what stood out for me, Dr. Matsanga, and it has brought even some orderliness on the roads, in that we do not have a lot of traffic on the road like it used to be, where people are stuck on traffic for hours, because a majority of people who will have used maybe a single bus each, you realize with the train, just having maybe even 20 coaches on the train, it has sorted out that mess that will have been experienced on our highways. I submit.
Thank you very much. You are bringing it closer from Punchline Africa Television. You are listening to Punchline Africa Television. Can we have a short interlude as we rearrange our gadgets? Wherever you are, our correspondent in Nanyuki, we are waiting for you. Javan Karanja and others who are in Nanyuki on that train, the legacy train. We are waiting for Narok. Our Narok correspondent has not arrived yet. Good morning, Africa. Good morning. This is the Unfiltered. When we come back, we want to look at the headline that is making social media click. Dennis Itumbi. Good morning, Daniel Wesonga.
Yes.
Advert. Thank you very much. All over Africa, presidents are beginning to change constitutions. The constitutions that were made to give term limits seem to have no meaning to the current situation in Africa. Whenever we reach election time and the expiry of the tenure of office, presidents in Africa try to change their constitutions. The recent case of Guinea, where President Conde has tries to change the constitution to go for another third term or fourth term, has sparked violence that has left several people killed and some arrested, imprisoned. The question therefore is, why is Africa and why are African heads of state changing constitutions? What has made it difficult for presidents to retire and go back? There are few countries in Africa that adhere to the constitution, namely Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Kenya. These countries, Botswana, Namibia, Angola, some of these countries, when it comes to adhering to the principles of constitutionalism, they have never changed their minds. Are there conditions that make them fear? Where is the fear? What makes people change constitutions? What makes a head of state to involve the entire population in changing the entire constitution. The case of Burundi, where the constitution was changed, it sparked violence and even it reached a point of a military coup. Do we need these changes in the constitution at the last minute? Do we involve our people as to whether the type of governance we are taking is the best type of governance? These questions can be answered by my viewers. Many of you who are watching me today, and many of you who will have a chance to look at the clip. The bottom line and the questions are, do we need elections in Africa? Therefore, are we ready for competitive elections? Do we give it up? Do we say, thank you, my brother, for winning, or my sister for winning elections? How do we conduct ourselves pre- and post-elections results? When the results come out, do we accept them? Do we move on? Do we wait for the 5 years? Or do we change and go violent? I think that is the question that I leave to you people in each of your countries, wherever you are. In the entire world, health, safety, preparedness of disaster are key issues in any working environment. The safety regulations of any institution or infrastructure in the world are paramount to a successful economy. We have health and safety regulations in industries, in hospitals, in schools. But what baffles us, and what baffles most of us, is that these regulations are not followed. For example, putting up a school in Kenya, you need to go through several methods before you are approved to have the children, including the capability of you housing 800 school children who were actually part of this school that fell, collapsed by itself. Good morning, Africa. I think it's yes. Good morning, Africa. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa, broadcasting live from the Political Command Center, somewhere on the shores of Indian Ocean. We are here to bring, if I can give you a preview of the Indian Ocean, that's it, down there. You see that side is the Indian Ocean. And that is exactly, Daniel, what I'm talking about. I can now be an expert of showing you the things that you need to see in the Indian Ocean. Across there, the beaches are restricted and every protocol is being observed very seriously. The hotels around the coast of Mombasa, right from Lamu, where we are situated right now, up to the southern coast of Diani Beach. The hotels have observed the protocol. The southern part, I can seriously tell you that that's it. As you see right from that end, you might not be seeing me, but you can see events that are taking shape. Preparations are underway for the big day, the birth of Jesus Christ, our Lord. I come back to the studio then. What has made you this week? This morning, I saw quite a lot of disturbing news about the friend of Daniel Wesonga. And that friend is none other than Dennis Itumbi. What has happened to Dennis Itumbi, Daniel, without any emotions of you know, for us, we are Christians. We preach the community Christian values. Some of us have been hurt more than the words that every day on this Facebook, I receive 20,000 insults. Every day, if you count, I think you've been one of those counting my insults, because I defend President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and the legacy trend, which is my organization, which you partly belong to. We have been defending the legacy and saying His Excellency has done very well. We don't fake news, we don't fake assassinations, we don't fake abductions, we don't fake, we talk the truth to the community. Is there something cannibalizing the morality of our people? Are we becoming fake to the extent of faking what we cannot fake? Are people doing the wrong things? We are told at the moment that I've read in the newspaper online, because I don't have a real newspaper here until I walk out, that Dennis Itumbi has been hospitalized. Allegedly, I saw it on the social media yesterday, that some people abducted him or something like that. Is that true? What is your view from Migori point of view?
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga David. And of course, Dennis Itumbi, a man I know so well, is not new to controversy. And a period like this last year, beginning of this year, rather, we had a scenario where he claimed that police officers had abducted him, only for it to be said that he was actually the one who was going to the police station, Kasaran police station, to demand that he be arrested for his own known reasons, well known to him. Perhaps he did that. And yesterday, when I got the news that he had been abducted, I was a bit skeptical, because you realize that this is a man who is full of controversy. This is a man who has crossed so many red lines, not only for those ones in the political sphere, but also for those ones who are in business. We've been having Dennis Itumbi, like you say, writing a lot of unimaginable things about them. And therefore, when you hear that he's abducted, then it is even so difficult to make sense out of these kind of shenanigans, I'll call them so. Because even when the photos of him in the hospital emerged today, there was so much clean stuff about him that I wouldn't say that the person who has been abducted and has been tortured to an extent to which maybe the supporters of the deputy president are talking about. So to me, I think this is a festive season, and of course, a festive season comes with a lot of shenanigans. People are more bound to even abduct themselves so that they are not brought to accountability. We heard that 2 years ago he had some case in court regarding child support. We had also some of the bloggers in Tangatanga who are under him yesterday claiming that they are anticipating to have their monies for Christmas perhaps this week. So you never know, Dr. Matsanga. At the end of the day, these kind of kidnapping quotes is very, very suspect. And in as much as I would want to feel maybe some empathy for Dennis Itumbi, we also have to be allowed to the fact that he's a man full of controversy. And sometimes when you think that he has been kidnapped by unknown individuals, then it could be as well as a well choreographed maybe scenario that would want to be used to seek sympathy and maybe portray our police officers in bad light, because the police officers do not have anything to get from maybe arresting Dennis Itumbi. They do not have even any kind of vendetta, you know. Dennis Itumbi has the right to write whatever he is writing on social media. He's been writing them for quite a long time. If there's anyone who could be having any kind of vendetta with Dennis Itumbi, then it is within the Tangatanga circles, where we've been seeing people fighting for money. If that is anything to go by, if he has been kidnapped by unknown assailants, so to say, Dr. Matsanga, then I'll say that has come from the deputy president's side. Because what will you say of this Honorable Tenge in Mombasa, who was abducted and he was beaten to pulp by the same people who are working for the deputy president in Mombasa. So it seems to be maybe, it appears to me that we might be having a squad in the camp of the deputy president who is hijacking fellow supporters of the deputy president because of money-related issues. Because when Tenge was giving an interview to the media stations, he said the abductors thought that he had been given a budget by the deputy president. And Dr. Matsanga, now that could break the puzzle, because we understand that this money that the deputy president has been giving around could be the cause of all this infighting that you are seeing in the UDA party. And Itumbi, being that he's perceived to be the one who is always in charge of the bloggers and giving out this money, that could also be a possibility. But saying that the police officers are the one who abducted him and tortured him and released him, then that is not, could not be the truth. And also saying that maybe it is the political nemesis of the deputy president who are doing this, then they would have done that so long ago, because Dennis Itumbi has been writing all kind of stuff on these people. He has been insulting them. He has been degrading them, including even the president himself. But no one has been able to be bothered enough to arrest Itumbi, let alone even to torture him. So to me, I think whoever attacked that Jubilee party, not Jubilee party, but the UDA party Coast Regional Coordinator is the one who could be behind maybe Dennis Itumbi's abduction, if it is not acting at all like it has been before. So to me, I think Dr. Matsanga, these are just shenanigans which are more bound to save face or maybe to hide something from their own circles.
Thank you very much. For me, I am a man who preaches peace. I preach. Go on with the program.
Yes, and also just to talk about this issue of money. We've seen even in Makueni, we had also people fighting because of this money that the deputy president is talking about. So when you hear that Itumbi has been attacked, then we must also not exclude people perhaps who maybe anticipate that he had been given money by the deputy president and maybe did not appropriately share it out with these individuals, now occasioning such kind of scenarios. But all said and done, I believe in as much as even the likes of Kipchumba Murkomen will want to pass the blame and also apportion blame to the government of the day, I think this is not politics related, because politically, who will be going out to hunt for Dennis Itumbi when we are having more important matters like the debate that we are just about to discuss about coming on board? And also, I saw yesterday the claims of abduction by Dennis Itumbi coming into the limelight and bringing about a topic that perhaps Dennis Itumbi himself will not be comfortable discussing about. And I would really not like maybe to associate it with this television station, but in that particular same breath, we will really want to ask Dennis Itumbi, where is his friend Bogonko Bosire? Because that is what Kenyans were asking yesterday. When you talk about abduction, you don't talk about abduction and maybe in the next like 2 hours you are again showing up, you know, saying that you have been, you are safe and you are now in hospital, and that is all about it. When you are well-known friend has been disappearing for years and years, and you have nothing to say about it. So to me, I think this kind of abduction only exposes the ugly underbelly of the dirty politics that are there in the deputy president's camp. And all this, Dr. Matsanga, could be attributed to the monies that are given by the deputy president, the money, the handouts that are dished out. So whenever we have handouts being dished out in such a particular way, we will always have chaos. You have to remember that during Moi era, there's no particular place Moi could visit and we never had chaos. I remember back in 90s, late 90s, he was in Bungoma and he happened to give one of my aunts 100,000 Kenyan shillings. because of the work that she was doing in that particular county. And people are almost killing her for that small amount of money that Moi gave her as a token. So that is the same thing that we are seeing with the deputy president when he moves around and gives out money to these individuals. And Dennis Itumbi, like I said, he has been the one who has been dishing money to bloggers and all those social media influencers. And it was perceived that because people are breaking for Christmas, perhaps he had some goodies on him, and therefore that could actually be a risk for attack. So for us, we don't leave the story saying about the police or maybe the opponent, or maybe said that the president are the ones who have abducted him. That is Tangata eating Dennis Itumbi.
Sorry.
Dr. Matsanga, I submit.
I think you are being too harsh. And you are being too harsh to...
Dr. Matsanga, if
you know you are making me laugh. No, wait first. You are being too harsh to this young man. This young man, Itumbi, I am the one who taught him how to fly on a plane. And I took to him the first flight to ICC. I went with Dennis Itumbi. I bought his ticket. He came to Limelight. He flew with me to The Hague when we were defending the Ocampo 6. We stayed in the same hotel, and I told him that when you are doing this work of lobby and advocacy, stay apart. Don't come closer to me, because for me, I'm already monitored by the ICC. And they could easily turn around and implicate you or do something. Because for me, I knew my life was gone. In fact, for me, on the journey to ICC, I used to book 2 hotels. Let me tell you, shock you today. I used to book one hotel in The Hague and another hotel in Amsterdam. So most of the people, one night, I found my bed, my room was ransacked. People were looking for documents, but I did not sleep there. But it was my room. That is in Moving Peak. Yet I used to stay somewhere in Amsterdam, near Schiphol Airport, in Crown Plaza. And that is how I survived the dangerous killers of ICC, both who could have killed me. Because I'd brought to the attention of the world the badness of the International Criminal Court. I had brought to the dangers of the world. I had stood for people like Said Gaddafi. You know, at 12 o'clock tonight, this morning or this afternoon, we are beginning the journey on Libya, and 3 of us experts have been drawn from the continent to discuss Libya. 250 million people, you know very well, you are an ICT man, are glued, and this is going to be sold to Sky News, to BBC and other agencies. Look, let me tell you, my brother, I suffered with this guy in the head. The people who are looking for us were seated on table there. I told him, separate yourself so that they don't. You have seen the picture taken of me and him in a Kenya flag, because they wanted to kill us. I survived the ICC. Those who had been hired by Ocampo to do harm on me, agencies. That is how Itumbi rose to supremacy. He went to The Hague once only. I took him that flight only. It's me who paid the ticket only again. and I taught him how to use forks and knives and forks on a plane. I am happy he has reached where he is now. And that's why you see he doesn't talk about me, and I'm not going to talk about him in this hour of badness when he has, whether he has been hit, abducted, I leave it to God. For me, he has done, he doesn't come directly to attack me. He has not attacked me directly. If he does, that will be very sorry state, because I don't really attack him. I only tell the truth. I have never, there are so many things they have done on me, including this week, and they had prepared that from 1st of January, they will tackle Matsanga because I support Uhuru Kenyatta. They will tackle me. They will harass me. They will write things about me. I'm prepared. I also have the brain and the paper and the knowledge and the scholarly material. You know that. I'm not a pretender. I'll write back. I'll not fight. I'll not fight using violence. I stopped long time ago. When even the people who have killed my own parents and my own wife and other people have forgiven me. That's what life is. Mm-hmm. So for me, I don't know, whatever you talk about. Yesterday, I talked about politics of intrigue and the politics of violence. You see, have you seen what has happened? I was telling you yesterday, you remember?
Yes, yes.
We had a very nice topic last night. You see that picture? That is the first day Tumbi and I went to the ICC. I think you should capture that picture and send it to me. Production team, send that picture to me. That's the first time I took that young man to the ICC. The first day, he hadn't known where Hague was. He didn't know what a plane was. And I don't want people to, this is a man who might be wanting some little money. But the mouth has become too loud. He needs us to, as elders, to call him and tell him, please, look here. There are certain things that you can do. The things that I did in 1986, 87, 89, again, when I was, opposed to President Museveni, are not the things I can do today because I've got tools. I've now enlarged my brain. I can reason with His Excellency President Museveni's people without any violence. Maybe they can make violence on me if they want. But me, I'll reason and floor them without any violence. And that is what I am. So let's not use violence. Let's not use intrigue to color the landscapes of Kenya. Wesonga, if there is abduction or violence in anywhere, in any form, in any party, let's condemn it. Because violent route leads to violent operations. I've already told you that this election should not even be there because it should not be there in this format. There's a disease, there is bad talk, hate, there is a lot of hatred between the two main rivals. And it will explode to a route that will deliver us to the same Hague that we ran away from. So for me, if what has happened according to the reports, if the police will investigate to find out who really abducted me, I'm not amused with that type of abductions. Neither am I amused with the type of violence. I would stand as an elder, condemn any type of violence that can come into this country to disrupt the tranquility I've written articles on this page of mine, and I warned that let's not make Kenya a mafia state. A mafia state which operates. You see, you can play with the mafia, and then it happened in Mombasa. After a few days, it happened in Mombasa with Songa. I told the people, the late Prime Minister of Italy, Aldo Moro, used to appease the mafia and the Red Brigade commanders. He used to appease them, give them contracts, give them money. But one day, the same commanders of Red Brigade in Italy kidnapped him and killed him. And yet they were beneficiaries of Aldo Moro. So do we have a mafia group here that turns out to beat their own party members? You can see where we are heading. The man in Mombasa was telling you, with injuries, it's serious injuries. He was beaten because of handouts, because of money. And I would warn you that money in this politics will bring a lot of disaster. So many people have been complaining that money is kept by so and so. That's why some of us have never even, I don't know. If you tell me, ask me whether I've ever seen, I know where Kibito's office. If you threw me there and I say go straight to Kibito, I don't know where, I don't know. The last time I was at the Harambe house was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. I've never been there. When I was there, when Amina Mohammed was still a minister of foreign affairs, next door, sorry. The last time I was near that building, I have never gone to that building in my life. Not in my life, but since the government of Jubilee took place, I have never stepped in any of those. I don't know which office is what. Some of us do these things with voluntary hearts. We are volunteers. We love what President Uhuru Kenyatta does for Africa. Therefore, I will speak for him at any time. For me, I'm not going to laugh, rejoice, neither will I condemn what I don't know much, but I only advise as an editor that let's not use intrigue and violence to frustrate and destroy this country. I submit.
Yes, very much in order, Dr. Matsanga David. And of course, if that kind of violence is not quite captured by the state agencies, you realize that when we will have elections and then we have even disgruntled groups at the local level, you know, that is how the courage they start having. Whenever the handouts are not in, they start fighting amongst themselves. And then what happens on the election day is that these same violence that was rehearsed during this fight for handouts is what actually spills into the national arena, and we have an ungovernable country. So I agree strongly with you, and perhaps you've given it a much more better perspective than I have in seeing that this is actually a recipe for disaster if it is not curbed. Whether Itumbi's abduction is by a non-assailants or maybe it's choreographed, it all sums up to whatever you've been speaking about. I think that is the point of the matter to our viewers. I submit, Dr. Matsanga.
So thank you very much. Let's come to our last topic this morning. The topic is the bill. The Speaker of Parliament of Kenya has recalled Parliament on 29th of December 2021. This comes days after, barely 3 days after the other Deputy Speaker deferred or suspended the discussion on the Political Coalition Act Political Party Coalition Act, which is a bill that can make pre-coalition agreements before elections and bring smaller parties equitably distribute the resources that they get out of elections. Therefore, this has become a matter, and reliable sources indicate that Speaker of Parliament Justin Muturi was not very amused with the ruling of the Deputy Speaker, who is also allied to UDA party, who has now brought in politics of UDA into Parliament. I therefore want to say, give you time, Wesonga, to talk about this, then I will say what I know. So there will be another sitting of MPs on 29th of December. I like the sound of the cocks crowing. I hope you are not going to cut all of them today.
Not really, Dr. Matsanga, but we have your goats here. If you will have traveled to these sides of the country, then you'll have had your goats.
Are you with the Kidi Mwaga?
I'm gonna meet Kidi later in the day. So I was just waiting to brief our viewers about the legacy projects and whatever is happening around here. And then later on, maybe we can have a meetup with friends.
Okay, thank you very much. Don't forget to carry some meat which is roasted. And even the goat can fit in the boot alive.
I'll make sure.
Okay. Just give us a brief review, a preview of what is going on this act.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga. And I would really like to maybe just air my concerns regarding to this bill that the MPs were supposed to vote on the other day. And I'll start by saying that Benjamin Cheboy, the Deputy Speaker, is a good man, but perhaps he, just like many other more people in Rift Valley, are being subdued by these dictatorial tendencies that are in the UDA party. And in the course of last month, I was able to share with some senior person, politician from the Rift Valley. And the talk there is, Dr. Matsanga, that not everyone agrees to the party leader of UDA, the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. But in Rift Valley, we have a supreme law that you either support William Ruto and his agenda, or you get threats from the likes of Oscar Sudi, Kipchumba Murkomen, Cherargei, and Aaron Cheriot. And you've seen even on tape them telling people who are not supporting the Deputy President that they are being profiled. And therefore, there's this kind of fear among the circles of politicians in Rift Valley that if you do not do according to the will of William Ruto, then you are the verge of being sabotaged and you might not get back your seat. And I really am a person who has known the political journey of Benjamin Cheboy. And I remember at one time he said on TV that he struggled for over 20 years just seeking to be elected as a member of parliament. But because he was not handsome like many other contestants, then he could not get this particular seat. And here he has this particular seat, but you are being told that if you do not maybe make this particular debate go in a certain way, then you will not come back in parliament, because where you come from, UDA is everything and the Deputy President's interests come first. Then I think that is the reason why, to me, he sabotaged this particular vote, because you cannot tell me that they had such an ample time knowing that people were very much eager to vote. The MPs were eager to vote so that they proceed for their festivities, and then only for him to subdue it and be able to overturn and say perhaps it is postponed, meaning that if they have to push it up to next year, then due to the time constraint, it might not work maybe in favor of the promoters of this particular bill. So to me, first of all, Dr. Matsanga, I saw this as an act of sabotage from the Deputy Speaker. Whichever political views he holds, whichever maybe aspirations he subscribes to, he ought to have known better that this is a bill which is very, very important. And actually, it is even going to help and protect those who will want to form a coalition agreement with the deputy president. Because before we had this kind of conversation, coalitions were just written on paper with no any legal backing that could hold major political players accountable to this pact that they formed with smaller parties. So you realize that in the course of time, most of these smaller parties were shortchanged, and there's nothing that could happen to the bigger parties. When you look back in history, when we had the NAC government crumbled because the smaller parties feel disgruntled, and there was no legal help that will come out of the registrar of the political parties, or even a law that they could actually capitalize on to be able to bring the bigger parties to to be accountable for these kind of infringements on the coalition MOUs. So you realize that Kenya has been having this game of coalitions before the elections, and before the next elections, they're again crumbling, and people are running helter-skelter to form new other outfits that will see them win power. But this power has not been benefiting all players that take part in the formation and the campaign of having this new government in place. So I think, to me, this is a very, very good bill, in as much as it was sabotaged by the speaker and those he's serving in making sure that the vote did the bill did not go all the way to Freetown in Parliament. So that is why perhaps I see the speaker was not amused that these people had some kind of cheekiness in doing it, even in an unprocedural manner, so that later on it encounters legal hurdles, and whatever it is done to it is what Justice Mrima does best, sabotaging any good proposition that comes from the government of the day, or even the people who support government. And at the end of the day, it happens at the derailment of the good wishing Kenyans that are more bound to benefit from this kind of bill. So to me, whatever happened was a bit unfortunate. It is a waste of taxpayers' money, because remember, Dr. Masanga, anytime these parliamentarians sit, taxpayers' money is spent on the per diem and all those allowances, as many of them travel from various parts of the country just to come and pass these laws. So just making sure that the law did not sail through quite seamlessly, in that the speaker had to recall a special sitting on 29th. That is the height of wastage and impunity for the deputy speaker. In as much as I know, anyone in Rift Valley, majority of them could not maybe be in a position to agree with such a ruling, but they just have to toe the line, because the kind of dictatorship that we have in UDA is unimaginable. That is why even William Ruto himself, he does not want to form any government maybe with smaller parties through coalitions, because he believes in absolute power. He is a Moi kind of politician, where KANU was the only party, chama cha baba na mama. Anyone who sang any song apart from KANU was deemed as an enemy of the state and could be crushed. That is the kind of thing that William Ruto wants to bring back. He wants to bring back the KANU days, where we only had a single party, and you had to subscribe to this party with your body, soul, and mind. In that, if you are woken up in the middle of the night and you are asked about which party you support, you say you support the KANU party. But you see, for William Ruto, he does not want even to make it a matter of KANU, because KANU had its party leader, it had the deputy party leaders and other politicians who are powerful in that hierarchy. When you look at UDA today, if I may ask a question I asked some few days ago, who is the deputy party leader of UDA? We do not have UDA deputy party leader. It is built around an individual who is like a supreme leader, Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran. So we do not have accountability in this kind of structure, and that is why perhaps the Deputy President William Ruto does not want this particular bill to sail through.
And the delay tactics that they are playing, actually, they are the same ones that actually sabotage the formulation of these particular laws, in that before we know it, we will only be few months to the general election, and it will make maybe the implementation of the law a bit cumbersome for those who are deemed to maybe implement the law. Just the same thing that they did with the BBI agenda, just sabotaging it at every stage, until lastly we are caught up with the timelines that we cannot be able to beat, and therefore the law does not come into effect. But I hope whatever is happening on 29th will actually put a full stop with a finality on this particular push and pull and ping pong games that the parliament, which is allied to the deputy president, has been playing through the deputy speaker. So to me, Dr. Matsanga, all I wish for is this bill to be debated on 29th. Let the vote be cast, and then the bill be sent to the president to assent, so that it becomes law by January, and therefore we can have a very proper structure around the formation of coalitions by our political players and the parties, so that we do not have small parties and small communities being shortchanged in case of anything. And I believe that is the best insurance that even the president can leave for the people of Mount Kenya, so that if the people of Mount Kenya are gonna form a coalition with Azimio la Umoja, or be it the deputy president in whatever capacity, their interests will be put and be taken care of by the law that will be formulated in this bill that is being debated. And it is high time the MPs from Mount Kenya realize this and gave it a resounding support, so that it becomes law. It will protect them. The minority communities, like people from the Asal region, people from the coastal region, even the people from Western Kenya, who for a long time have been shortchanged by most coalition partners they have gotten into agreement with. This is the time they should actually take up an opportunity and represent their people and have this bill come into law, so that it curbs their interests and it makes sure that they enjoy the government that they take part in formulating, so that at the end of the day, the bigger parties, the lion's share, do not take advantage of them and be able to edge them out of any coalition agreement, because the law will be protecting them, Dr. Matsanga. I submit. So therefore, this is a good law that should be supported by MPs all over the country. I submit.
Thank you very much. I have another show. Viewers across the Kenya and the world, viewers across the Kenya, thank you very much for watching. Those who have been watching us since morning, God bless you. God bless all of you. Daniel, continue with the good work in Migori near the Tanzanian border. Thank you very much. And I wish you good Christmas. I wish you a better day out there. Go ye, no violence, no fun. You know, I told you, fatigue and violence create a war path. God bless you. God bless everybody.
Yes, and maybe just for our viewers, we're going to be covering also the counties of Narok, Kisii, Nyamira, and Nyandarua. So in the coming few days, we're going to be bringing in a lot of information in terms of the legacy projects that the president is doing across those counties as well.
Thank you very much. With Songa, you will be covering the counties of Narok, Nyamira, and Nyandarua.
Kisii and Nyandarua.
Kisii, Narok, Nyamira, and Nyandarua.
Yes.
Thank you very much, my brother. Continue with the good work, and we shall be doing that. Have a nice Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you too much, Dr. Matsanga.
Cut.